Oh, how I love Jesus. So I just got a little message from somebody. Maggie, I love you. Mushroom, whatever, I love you. She gives me much love. So, that's what it's all about, love. So if you love each other, so I'm not saying everybody prop me. No, I'm just saying, if you tell somebody good things and get that spirit in you. See, when I was a kid, I was like, what was I? Wow. Fourth grade? Yeah. Fourth grade. After fourth grade, I heard, we're going to the Philippines. And I'm like, why? And they were like, we got called to go to serve the Lord. And I was like, didn't hear the call? Where'd it come from? Where was that? Because when I was a kid, we used to sit around at the end of the night and read a little story, for everybody, the kids, and it would have a little thing, and then we'd pray together, and that was supposed to be our God time, so it was like, well, wait a minute, I never heard in our prayer time or anything that we got called, and weren't we calling him? And how did the other thing go? Because I didn't hear anything, so I don't understand what happened. What's going on, and so well, that was kind of like, well, you don't understand, you're a kid, and I'm like, I just don't understand what this calling thing, how it works. Do you talk to somebody, or did you get an idea, or what happened? So we went to all these churches and we kept saying we're going to be missionaries, and then I was like, how are we going to be missionaries? Well, my dad was a teacher, so he went to Faith Academy, which is a missionary school. So they didn't pay for the missionary. That might have been it, and I don't know, but it was really complicated, and I always felt deceptive in it because it was like, wait a minute. I thought we're going over there to a school to teach missionary kids, that are American and stuff like us. So we're not really missionaries, going out in the jungle and stuff like that Joe Shetler that we saw when we were there. And I was like, what the heck? That's like a missionary movie star right there, like Hudson Taylor style. Wow. But I don't know. But anyway, that's just a weird thing. I was just always weird like that. So anyway, when I got to thinking about this real quick, it was just something came to me from that Maggie's message, because she said something about how she said she saw a sparkle in my eye. Maybe that was good. And I'm like, hey, that's cool, and I'm not arguing or anything. What I'm saying is that it's just cool when we all get along, and many people are called, but few are chosen. And I said in my message, it's nice to know when you've been called. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. But then I thought about it. Wait a minute. That's just it. Because the verse says, many are called, but few are chosen. But see, if you feel your call and use those talents and work as unto the Lord at them, then you're probably gonna be the chosen. And it's not about many are called, few are chosen because I'm part of the chosen because I'm so special. No, because that's what the talents were all about, silly. Don't you see? It's almost like Jesus told a fairy tale and everybody listened to the parables. And we're like, that Jesus, he trips out a little. He's maybe, I don't know, he just likes to kind of trick people with the parables. But it was a twist, you see, because the whole thing was like a parable. If you read it right and put it into your mind enough, that you will see that if you work as unto, just like Braveheart, hello. So if you work as unto the Lord, well, then the Lord will save you gold and give you more talents that you could perfect and serve him in. So then when you're in the kingdom, you get raptured, which means caught up to serve him in his kingdom for 1,000 years. So, the things everybody's talking about are really quite unclear to me, because it's really quite simple. All this, who's on what team? Are you on the Chargers? Because he's the King's team. And that's the main thing. Because if you follow the 2 greatest commandments, like you said, then we wouldn't need all this preaching. So Santa Claus is true, and he's got the naughty list and karma and all that stuff. So he's Jesus Christ, and he's the King. And he might have already chosen you. That's great if he has, but I'm not even trying to go there. I'm just trying to enjoy that calling. Because, see, when we went to the Philippines, I hated it like a nightmare as a kid, because it was so hot and everything. But I did have one great teacher, and maybe that was all part of the plan. Because I had a teacher, and I think it was 7th grade, Mr. Stenberg. I never forget him. He was one of those teachers that had so much passion in him, and he actually believed what he said, and it was so fun, because he would be like, okay guys, we're gonna have a little sword test. Are you guys sharp on the sword today? And we're like, I think so. And he's like, okay, who's the fastest to get to 139? And then he'd go, okay, what about 1 Corinthians? Oh, crap, where is that? And so he would do that to us and just have so much fun, like an old game show, like Name That Tune. And that's what we need more of. We need to, stop getting into those divider and chiefs games and just look for a king and just glorify him and just forget about the chosen thing, because that's when he comes and puts you on his raptured team. Because if you're not raptured, well, then you're probably one of the King's ones that's still, which team am I on? You see what I mean? So the San Diego Chargers were great when Bobby Ross was coach. So we need to be those Chargers that King Jesus is our coach, because I met Bobby Ross, and I think he was the best Chargers the coach has ever had. Because he was the nicest guy. I went to his practices before, and he'd say, hey, how's it going? Just walk up to you like nobody. And I had my first son. I was like, hey, can we take a picture? And he's like, yeah, can I hold him? And I'm like, damn, what the heck? This guy's great. So then the next coach came. I don't remember his name. Gilbride, maybe, or whatever. And the reason Bobby Ross left, he went to the Super Bowl, so he probably did as good as he could. I mean, he couldn't win because, how the Super Bowl is. But Natron Means, that's what we need. We need to be Natron Means for the King. And if you ever, I don't know if you can find old video of it, but man, you ever watch him run? It was so much fun. There was one play in the best game. I got to cater a party with Eric. Oh man, it was so fun. And no, not everybody got all drunk. No, this is not how we have to think. See what I mean? Parties can be great, and that's what the King's having when he comes. It's called a banquet. And I worked banquets for years, and they are great. And so, let he who serves, let him serve. You see what that means? It means just use the talents he gave you and give him glory, and he'll love you, and he'll reward you, and have you serve him, and choose you. But if you act like you're already chosen, you'll be chosen all right, but it might be that UFO planet Mitt Romney's dreaming about. And so you gotta wake up and get on the team, because this is a fun team, and we got Natron Means. Because I'm not trying to say I'm Natron, but I love that Natron, because I tell you what, during that Pittsburgh game, oh man, he had the ball one time, It was the AFC Championship game, and he had the ball, and they opened up a hole for him. He got through, and he was just like a bowling ball, and he went, and these guys are like hanging off him, and he went like 30 yards and got like to the 5-yard line or something, and then they just gave to him to get it in. I think I don't remember, but that was so much fun to watch because you were watching a team. Because I mean, nothing against Stanton Humphries, but he kind of sucked. But maybe that was part of what made them such a good team, because you had faith in the coach, not that Montana. Look what he did. But he was great. But you see what I mean? Like, it was never about Humphries, because he like got knocked out a couple times and he was a little on the chubby side. I mean, no offense. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. I'm just being honest. And so it was just so fun to watch, because like when they'd win a game, like back in 94, I think it was, if that was 94, the year they went to the Super Bowl, but I think it was like 93 that they were so good that year. And man, that one play, it was so funny. And it was so funny because when I worked downtown at Horton Grand Hotel cooking on the line, this one waitress came in, and it was like Saturday night, and she was like, wow, that's funny. I was at this place last night and dancing, and Natron Means was there. And I was like, what? And he's like, and she was like, yeah, he likes to party, I guess. And so I see him all the time at these big parties. And I'm like, but aren't they playing tomorrow? And she's like, yeah. It was one of those things like that. It was like the next day, she said it, that he had done it the night before. And then I did hear later that, like, what part of why Bobby Beathard, who was good too, I actually saw Bobby Beathard when I was painting a house, not too far from here. But Bobby Beathard and Bobby Ross didn't get along, and it was partly because of some people like Natron Means that, like, Bobby just let him play, you know, because sometimes he'd come in half drunk still from the night before, like, okay, coach, let's do this, give me that ball. And so they'd get ready to play, and like, I guess Beathard was like, you can't let him play like that. And I guess he got like talked to a couple times, like, come on, Natron, you gotta like, you can't just drink a Monster and be good, man. Come on. Because that's the thing about monsters. Everybody wants to talk about Bigfoot and monsters, but aren't we supposed to be like them? You know what I mean? Because that's about Natron. He like ran like a monster, like literally. He just, you couldn't stop him. He was like my old buddy in high school, Dennis Silva. Man, he was so funny. I used to work out with him. Oh man, he was great. And when he got the ball at high school, forget about it. Everybody just like hang on him. He was just like a tree. And that's how we need to be. We need to be solid, running for the king, just like full on. No doubt in us. We are on the right team. What the heck? You got your calling? Let's get chosen. Let's earn some gold and work for the king and forget all these other things. I mean, do what he sends you to do, because he's sending me to do many things, and it's like the funnest job I've ever had, because I get to burn bridges to the wrong seas. It's all these Titanics that are crashing into icebergs, and I'm just like, hey guys, gotta, you want to get off that bridge before it gets burned, because it's not with the king. So that's what it's all about, right? The joy of the Lord is your strength. So where's your love? Where is the love? Remember that song? That's how you gotta think. You just think like the king, and it's all good. And you don't have to worry. So, yes, you have been called. But have you been chosen? Well, work as unto the Lord with those talents he gave you. And then it might be quite lovely real soon. Unless you want to get into these all doctrinal divides of the dividers and chiefs. And they're on the wrong side. And well, those 7 C's of lies, the Titanics are the churches, and they're like going like this really a lot right now, because see, if they've been getting tithe as one of the main things you're supposed to do, and the king never talked about tithe, he just talked about thieves, then that means that the hardest repentance that brings fruits of righteousness is refunding the money that they took, since they are the thieves that led us into thievery and doctrines of men that make sons of hell. So, homeless pastors are where? And how many have opened up their church and said, okay, car camping or whatever in my parking lot, and here's the bathrooms, everything, it's all yours, and the bank account too. Go ahead, take whatever you want, because I'm trying to be with that king that I betrayed, and I want to clean up all this blood that's the wrong blood all over me. And then they might, get with the king and stop playing shell games. No, it's not me, because they can keep saying that, but that means they might have blasphemed, and that means they're becoming the salt pillars, and they will soon be saying, hawks, rocks, trees, hide me somewhere. I don't want to be a salt pillar with the king.